Welcome to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner, investment advisor, and insurance professional Alfie Townsend, president of Advantage Retirement Group.
Good morning, Southwest Florida. You are listening to Saving the Investor radio show. I am Alfie Townsend, Southwest Florida certified financial planner professional, here with Pastor John Antonucci, and we have a great show today. We're going to talk about mistakes that you don't want to make and that the millionaires don't make. So we definitely want to listen to that. And we're going to talk about what happened in this past week in the market. And football season is back.
Yeah, it's good to be back and great to be in studio with you, Alfie. And good morning, Southwest Florida. You know, whether you're planning your legacy or preparing for the next phase of life here in beautiful Southwest Florida's paradise, Alfie's here to guide you every step of the way. He's a certified financial planner professional with over 40 years experience. And he's also a fiduciary, which means his responsibility is to you, the individual investor, not to any products or services that he offers here through the Advantage Retirement Group. And as he said, we're going to be talking about the Millionaire's Guide to Avoiding Costly Mistakes today. So grab a pen and paper or just lean in and listen, because today's show is packed. And before we dive in, we've got something special just for our listeners today. Alfie has put together a high net worth toolkit, which is designed exclusively for affluent retirees and pre-retirees, and it has guides, advanced guides on tax reduction, estate planning, large IRA strategies, charitable giving, and so much more. But listen, there's only 10 of these toolkits available, so you need to call or text and get your complimentary copy right now. Simply text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. You want to text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. 1077 and pick up your complimentary high net worth toolkit today. And Alfie, as we start talking about the market update today, a little interesting that jobless claims are rising a little bit, which is interesting because I know that there's deportation going on, so there should be jobs that are opening, but they are rising. Are you surprised by that?
Well, remember, all that money that is coming into the United States, trillions and trillions of dollars, that hasn't really hit yet. So when that hits, you're going to see a reversal of this. But as of right now, this might be news for the Federal Reserve. You know, that are they going to be, lowering these rates? That question mark has been there, and I think they will be lowering rates. But yeah, we have there was only 54,000. This is ADP numbers of 54,000 new jobs created for the month of August, which is really anemic. It's not that good, and the slowdown is partially contributed to businesses are slow to hire during these tariff negotiations. There's a lot of concerns with tariffs, and so they have to get that taken care of. Labor shortages, you talked about that. You would think, with people deporting, there'd be more people there to hire. But if you don't want to work, you don't want to work. You gotta want to work to be one of the statistics to be hired. So that's a good thing. And then you have skittish consumers that are still concerned about the economy. But I would say overall, the markets are they're not, the stock market is doing better than the economy right now. But the economy is still strong, but it's going to do nothing but get stronger. When you have trillions of dollars that are coming into the United States, that is going to be building businesses, building brick and mortar is going to be happening. You're going to have new jobs, new skills needed. So I think it's going to be just fine. But manufacturing, transportation, education, healthcare, they are the ones that shedded some jobs there. But the hotel and restaurant accounted for most of the increase in the new job hire. So
the service industry is taking more of a hiring.
No tax on tips. Remember,
maybe
more people are saying, you know what? No tax on tips for a certain dollar amount. I might do that. Now the Federal Reserve is looking at all this, and when you look at poor labor markets, are likely to spur the Federal Reserve to cut these interest rates. Now they are already priced in. Wall Street already priced them in to really lower these rates, but is it going to be 0.25% or is it going to be 0.5%? I think the money is on 0.25%, but with these job numbers, man, that would be pretty pretty cool if they did a 0.5%, because if they did a 0.5%, then you're looking at, saving some serious money on, on taxes, on interest on the debt that we have. A 1% saves about $300 billion a year, $330 billion a year, 1%. So, even if you get a half, you're saving, 150, 160 billion dollars just on interest payments alone.
Yeah, I think Trump wants 2% to jumpstart this housing market that sort of is moving into a wall.
Yeah, you got housing markets. So, there's a lot. A lot is based on interest. When you have lower interest, you have more money in your pocket to spend, but you have businesses that will borrow more money because they're not being, worried about the interest. They can make the interest up with profit. So, but when they're at the levels they are now, they need to come down a little bit.
Yeah, very important. So, you want to take a look at what Alfie has to offer. You can go to savingtheinvestor.com. Again, that's savingtheinvestor.com. You'll find a wealth of information about Alfie, his company, and all the services that he offers here through the Advantage Retirement Group. You also can give him a call at 239-747-1077. The market, as we are entering into September, and like you said, this is the month where the Fed's supposed to cut the rates. The markets already have this factored in, but yet the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ are still at pretty good.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. The S&P, it's up for the year at 9.6% year to date. If you count the dividends, which you got to count the dividends because they get reinvested, and it's 10.6%. So that's not bad. S&P is holding up pretty good. The Dow Jones is lagging a little bit. It's at 6.4%. NASDAQ is what we get excited for here at the Advanced Retirement Group. They're up 11.3% for the year. Now remember, they had to make up a big down market at the beginning of the year, like 20%. It was April. So they had to make up some serious money gains at the beginning of the year, and they made them up, and they're still up 11%. But if you take the 1 year, from now till 1 year ago, it's up 26%, a little over 26%. So, it's beating inflation. The market is the best place to put your money. If you're not invested in the market, this is something that you really need to consider, or you might be invested in the market but not invested properly. How do you know if you're invested properly or not? How do you know if you own the right companies or right sectors? Is what we call the retirement simulator. And if you don't have if you've never done that here at the Advanced Retirement Group, a lot of you have taken advantage of the retirement simulator process that we go through, and we really dissect what's going on inside your own plan that you currently have. If we can show you what's going on inside your plan, your eyes will open, and you're going to see some fees in there that you didn't know that you had. You're going to see some sectors in there that you probably should not be in, and you're going to see how much you have in international versus U.S. It's something that is worth to know, and it will tell you why your portfolio is acting this way. And then what we do is we compare it to what we would do for you with the same risk. So we're not, giving you a lot higher risk to give you a much higher return. We're going to keep that risk real similar to what you have, but with the allocation and with what we're going to do, a lot of times it just crushes other people's portfolios. So give us a call. John will let you know how to do that, and get your retirement simulator now to find out what's going on inside your current retirement plan.
Yeah, take advantage of Alfie's retirement simulator process. It's a stress test, a deep dive into your current portfolio to see what's really going on. He's going to expose the cracks in there that could be eating up your returns each and every year. And listen, if you're on the right track, Alfie's going to tell you stay the course that you're on. But if not, he's going to make recommendations that's going to help you maximize your retirement income. If you're soon to be retired or currently retired for many years right now, you owe it to yourself to visit with him and his team here in Fort Myers or Naples, 2 beautiful offices. All you have to do is text the word VISIT, VISIT, to 239-747-1077. Listen, they can only handle 9 people during this broadcast. You need to give a text right now. Be one of the first 9 to text the word VISIT, VISIT, to 239-747-1077. It's a very in-depth process. His team can only handle 9 people during the week. So please take advantage of the retirement simulator process. Visit with Alfie in Fort Myers or Naples. You also can go to savingtheinvestor.com. Again, that's savingtheinvestor.com. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back right after this break, so don't go away. Welcome back to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend. You know, Alfie has 40 years under his belt as a CFP and as a fiduciary, which means his responsibility is towards you. And Alfie has written a book called Making Waves in Retirement. If you haven't picked up your complimentary copy, what are you waiting for? Listen, I only see 5 here in the office. There's 5 books left for you to pick up. It's really a roadmap to a fulfilling retirement packed with valuable insights and real-life stories from investors that Alfie has helped over his 40-year career. Listen, he named this radio broadcast Saving the Investor because he wants to save you from the pitfalls, the schemes, the traps of Wall Street. 5 copies are left. Be one of the first 5 to text the word book, B-O-O-K, to 239-747-1077. Again, text the word book to 239-747-1077 to claim yours. Grab your copy before they're all gone. Get a hold of it now. We're talking about the market in review. And Alfie, tech stocks are really driving the NASDAQ well. And Alphabet or Google really had a great showing, didn't they?
You know, back in the 90s when tech was driving the markets, but it drove it all the way down to the ground too, because there was no substance there. These companies are the ones that really survived and came out stronger than ever, and they are revenue-producing companies. And you have, Alphabet has some good news. The judge ruled that the antitrust lawsuit against them is going to be thrown out. And what that did is it really drove the NASDAQ up from that news. And it was good news for Google also. So Alphabet was up, I think, like 10% or a little over that at one point. And then you had Apple up over 3% because Apple uses their search engine, Google search engine, and they were allowed to keep that on their main page. So this is good news that these lawsuits a lot of times.
Who's bringing these? I mean,
these are antitrust lawsuits. These are other companies that do what Google does, and they think that their search engine is too strong and it's too much of a benefit for them. That's why they control it so much. It's probably Microsoft is, they have their search engines. They have these different search engines, and the government said, okay, you're going to have to share some of this information, how you do it, but we're not going to charge you billions and billions of dollars for this. And that drove the stock up good. And that was Tuesday. They got that news. Wednesday, the markets were on a nice little run. So that's good news. And so it's going to take some news like this. Once again, the economy needs to start rolling again. And when you have the kind of money that's coming in from companies, from corporations, from countries, it's going to have to do nothing but increase America and make America strong again. But like we talked about, if we can lower interest rates, if the Federal Reserve gets serious about lowering these interest rates, you're going to see a market. They're going to see the housing market. The housing market is a big part of the economy because when you're building homes, you're employing so many people, and you're buying products across many lines there. So when you're building homes and building businesses and they're borrowing at lesser interest, that's more money in their pocket, and it's going to pass on down the line. So this is important that the feds do lower rates. It's just a matter of how much are they going to lower.
Yeah, well, 25 basis points really isn't going to make
it's not going to make a big difference because that's already priced into the market, and the 10-year Treasuries already came down about that. It's already came down a little bit. Interest rates for 10-year or for 30-year mortgages are down a little bit. They are down, but we need them down a whole lot more. Are we going to see the 2.9%, the 2.5%? I don't think we're going to see those again. But what the tip of the week that I did this past week on Daybreak with Jason Jones, I told him, I said, if you're looking for a home, it's not a bad idea to do a adjustable rate right now. Just do, I always like fixed rates myself. When I don't know why anybody would have done adjustable rate when interest was under 3%. That just doesn't, it just doesn't make sense. You want to lock that in. And thinking that rates are never going to change. It does, and it did. It changed real fast, and a lot of people got stuck behind the 8 ball. But you do an adjustable rate right now. That's only 10% of what mortgages out there. They said only 10% are adjustable rates. That's it, just 10%. But I think it's a good deal to do adjustable rate right now. And then because we know interest rates are going to be heading down, so it will start going down with the rates going down automatically. And then you get it at a point, but if you keep waiting and waiting and waiting to get that home because of rates, then what happens is once rates start to go down, a lot of these homeowners are going to be raising their rates. They're going to be raising it up.
They come down a little bit, the price of house.
Yes, they come down a little bit, but you're going to see when the demand starts to increase again, you're going to see home prices go up. And now if you had that adjustable rate, did that, you got some equity, you got the house at the right price, interest rates are going down, so your mortgage payments are coming down. So that's a good tip for the saving the investor. That is a good tip. So take advantage of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things that Alfie will guide you in, not just your financial status in the market, but there's so many things that he will help you with. And one of the ways that he can help you is that he's put together a high net worth toolkit. It's packed with proven strategies for affluent retirees. It's covering everything from tax-efficient withdrawals and large IRA planning to estate and legacy strategies that keep more money in your family's pockets and out of the IRS's hands. It's just a complimentary resource that you can pick up today. But listen, there's only 10 toolkits available today, so you need to be one of the first 10 callers. Text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077, and you'll get a link sent to you instantly. You can pick up this kit by texting the word KIT to 239-747-1077. You also can visit Alfie on the web at savingtheinvestor.com. Again, that's savingtheinvestor.com, where there's a wealth of information about Alfie, his company, and all the services that he offers here through the Advantage Retirement Group. He has 40 years experience as a CFP, and he's a fiduciary, which means his responsibility is to you. Be one of the first 10 to text the word KIT to 239-747-1077 and get your complimentary copy today. And Alfie, people have been invested in the market. You still have a lot of people on the sidelines. Those that are in the market, what would you say to those that are on the sidelines that are sitting in a 3 or 4% CD? What are they really missing out on at this point?
Well, they're waiting. They're waiting for the market to go down. So we can do dollar cost average. We have accounts that are making 12 and 15%. Where you could put your money in and take the interest of 15% and buy into your stocks while you're waiting around. You could do that. Some of our clients do that. If you think the markets are too high, we can do that. We can dollar cost average into this account with your interest that you're making at 15%. So do you want to make 3 or 4 or 15? That's a big difference. And these aren't locked into your, where you have to lock it in for 5 years, 10 years. We're talking it's a 2-year commitment. And then in that 2-year commitment, you can either take that interest out or you can go ahead and dollar cost average the money that you're making, just roll it back into the market and buy some of these companies that are going to be at a discount, throughout the year. They're going to, when markets are going down, they're going to be buying. It takes the emotion out of it, this dollar cost averaging. So this is a way to build wealth. And, there's so many, we have the 7.5%, 8% 1-year deals too, where if you want to take your money and need income, or if you have IRAs, this is the thing I talk about all the time is, if you can get if you're taking required minimum distribution, we can invest like 25% to 30% of what you currently are investing in to take your required minimum distribution. And to give you that required minimum distribution, we're going to go ahead and give you that, and that leaves about 70% of your money out that you don't have to take RMDs from, because you're taking so much from this 30% because you're getting 15% interest. Then you can invest that money and grow that money. This is what you want to do to grow wealth. You need to have an income plan. You need to have a tax plan, and you also have to have an income plan. So you have an income plan and grow, and then you have to fight inflation. So the best way to fight inflation is having money in equity and growing it. If you have to have income, we're going to give you income, and then the balance of your money, which is about 70% from the typical income. People come in, they're taking income on 4% of their portfolio. So if they have $1 million, they're taking $40,000. Well, we can create $40,000 with $300,000. That's the difference. And then we can put $700,000 to work for you. So if you want to know more about that, give us a call at the Advantage Retirement Group, and we're going to talk about that more on the other side of this break. It's 239-747-1077. We'll be right back. Good morning, Southwest Florida. You are listening to Saving the Investor radio show. I am Alfie Townsend, Southwest Florida certified financial planner professional. Been here for many years, raised in Florida. So I am Florida bound. And then we have Pastor John Antonucci that's been here for many years from Jersey. So we're your host, and we are fired up today. We're going to talk about millionaires, what they do, with their money, and some of the mistakes that they make, but some of the more importantly, the things that they grow their money and the mistakes that they don't make. And if we can avoid the best news, the best tip is having someone else's failure so you don't have to do it yourself. Is that right, Pastor?
That's absolutely right. So you learned for 40 years as a certified financial planner professional. You've seen every situation possible. And we're going to talk about that, the Millionaire's Guide to Avoiding Costly Mistakes. Then we're going to talk about the mistakes, but we're also going to talk about the positives of what they do that you can sort of mirror, because if you can learn from someone else's mistakes and not repeat them, that's going to be beneficial to you, whether you are soon to be retired or currently retired. Listen, Alfie Townsend is Southwest Florida's premier financial planner professional, over 40 years experience. He's also a fiduciary, which means his responsibility is to you, the individual investor, not to any products or services that he does offer here through the Advantage Retirement Group. And before we dive into that Millionaire's Guide today, Alfie has 5 remaining copies of his book, Making Waves in Retirement. It's your roadmap to a fulfilling retirement, packed with valuable insights and real-life stories from investors that Alfie has helped over his 40-year career. That's why he named this broadcast Saving the Investor, to save you from the pitfalls, the schemes, the traps of Wall Street. But the sad news is we only have 5 copies today, and if you've been listening to us, why haven't you picked up your copy? It's absolutely complimentary. All you have to do is text the word book. Do it right now. Pick up your smart device. Text the word BOOK to 239-747-1077 to claim yours. That's book, BOOK, to 239-747-1077. Grab yours before they're all gone. And Alfie, so many of our listeners here in Southwest Florida have done very well. They built significant wealth, but you said so many times before, wealth alone doesn't guarantee a successful retirement, does it?
No, it doesn't. There's many people out there that, have money. How many times have you seen people, especially lottery winners and stuff like that, John? They have all this money, but they don't have a plan. When you create your wealth, I find people that come in that had money donated to them. They treat it different than the ones that worked for it. The one that worked for it, they're more prudent, and because they didn't get this money all at once. It was money that was worked, and they know what it took, the hard work it took to get that money. But money that was given to them, those people, and not all of them, but some of them, treat it a little bit different and think, oh, I'm going to get more, and it seems not the last. If you just created your own wealth, that's going to be probably different than someone that just got wealth real fast. So if you got wealth real fast, you tend to think, well, I could get it this way again, and they're not as prudent with the money. But yes, you have to have a plan, regardless of how you got your wealth. If it was inherited, winnings, or if it was worked hard for. But yeah, you have to have a plan. That's the whole thing. You have to have a plan. And you have to have a safety net. You know, we talk about a safety net is something that if the markets are going down, you're not going down with the market 100%, because you have to have income plan. You have to have some safety nets in your plan. Then you have to have some things that are going to take a risk that you can hit home runs with. So these are all things that we do here at the Advantage Retirement Group. We're going to put something together for you. But you don't want to make the mistake that I had one kid that was in a lawsuit, and he won the lawsuit. It was he got injured in a car, and he got this money, and he was going through this money real bad, real fast, and he would. So his dad wanted him to invest with us, so we started investing, and then I had to let him go because one of his friends wanted, like 20% of his money to invest in his company. And, he was, he gave him the money. I told him, it looks suspect, the company that you're investing in. And he didn't take my advice, and he invested in it. He lost that money, and then he was going through his other money so fast we had to let him go as a client because he was not listening. He just was going through his money, and now he's, that could have been, he was in his 20s. That money could have been set for his life, and he went through it all in a matter of 3 years. And with everything I tried to do to get him not to do it, he did it. So there's going to be people like that. And then there's going to be people that are say, what do we need to do, Alfie? And then I love those type of people to put that plan together and grow their money and have their money stay put as they're taking income out. That's a beautiful thing. We have some income planning devices that we didn't have, 5 years ago. We have things that are paying some serious interest. I mean, we're talking 12, 15%, 8%. And these are income producers that you get all your principal back. We'll explain how it works and the little bit of risk that you're taking to get this kind of income. But it's usually a 1 year hold to 2 year hold, and if and the kind of income that it produces, it leaves a lot of money left for you to invest, and that's what the that's the ticket right there is having an income plan and being able to invest. But the main thing is you want to avoid things that are going to go through your money real fast. Loaning people money. I mean, that's when people ask me for money, John, I just tell them I make a habit of not loaning money. I just don't. If it's family, what I will do is not loan them money. I will give them less money, but give them money and tell them don't worry about paying me back, because I don't want, that's one of the things that will take a lot of people and bury them. Sure. Yeah. Because they have that kind heart. I have a kind heart, but you have to know when to say, hey, I got to take care of my family and myself first. Right. And I create
issues between family members as well.
It creates, it creates a ton of issues. So that's not, it's not the best way to start it.
Well, let's talk about this mistake, which is a safety trap. When we talk about mistakes that avoiding costly mistakes, a big one is putting too much into CDs or cash. You just alluded to an 8% or 12 to 15%. A lot of people that put too much into CDs or cash could be a trap, couldn't it?
Oh, it's a big trap because they feel good. They think they have this, $1 million, $2 million, and they think, oh, hey, this is good stuff. But if that money inflation is more than what you're earning, your buying power is going down. So don't be too safe with the monies that you're that you have, because you have to have money that is growing and you have to have money for income. So there's things out there that we can have safety nets on that give you that 10%, that 12% type of return, and not worry about a downturn in the market. So this is something that you really need. If your advisor really isn't talking to you about different alternatives for income and different safety nets for you, then you need to really, it's okay to, you might have outgrown your advisor. How many times have we talked about that, John, where people come in all the time in this office and they'll talk to, your son David and Curtis and Garrett, and they'll say, and they show them what we do here at the Advantage Retirement Group, and they say, why isn't our advisor talking about these things? And, we travel. I travel throughout the year, and your son does too, to learn what's new out there and what other, top advisors and top firms are using to create income, to create safety, create wealth for their clients. And that's what we do. We are out there and we are learning it, and we are, taking it back and using it for our clients. And these are things that we didn't have, like I said, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Doing this 40 years, if you don't change, you're dying. If you don't change, you're dying. So we love coming back and saying, listen, this is something that makes a whole lot of sense for people that need a lot of income but don't want to take a lot of money out of their account to create that income. This is what we're doing, and this is these are things that we look for to create that income so we can invest and beat inflation. But you're right, John. If a trap is, I feel good with this 3% interest, and I know it's always going to be there. But if you can make 3 times that, 4 times that, and grow your money, now you're talking serious. Now you're talking legacy money. Now you're talking money that's fighting inflation. Now you're talking, hey, if you want to take the whole family on a trip, you can do it because you have that excess money that you didn't have before.
Yeah, Alfie has put together a high net worth, freedom package that you can get a hold of today. And listen, he only has 10 of these kits available, but you want to pick them up because basically inside this kit is going to have a tax reduction plan, estate planning, large IRA strategies, charitable giving, and so much more. Listen, there's only 10 complimentary toolkits available right now. All you have to do is text the word KIT, K-I-T, to 239-747-1077. Be one of the first people to text the word KIT to get a hold of this complimentary high net worth toolkit that will help you avoid the mistakes of investing. You can pick it up today by texting the word KIT to 239-747-1077. You also can go to savingtheinvestor.com. Again, that's savingtheinvestor.com, where you'll find a wealth of information about Alfie, his company, and all the services that he offers here through the Advantage Retirement Group. We want you to stay tuned. We're going to be right back right after this break talking about mistakes that you need to avoid. Welcome back to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend. Alfie has put together what's called a retirement simulator process, which is a deep dive into your current portfolio to see what's really going on. He's going to expose all the hidden fees that could be eating up your returns, making sure that you're allocated properly, diversified correctly, not taking undue risk for the amount of return that you get. Listen, you want to be one of the first 9 people to visit with him in Fort Myers or Naples. That's what they can handle as a team this week. Pick up your smart device, text the word VISIT, V-I-S-I-T, to 239-747-1077 to take advantage of Alfie's retirement simulator process. You want to get involved with that because it's going to help guide you to and through retirement. Pick up your smart device, text the word VISIT right now, 239-747-1077. We're talking about the Millionaire's Guide to Avoiding Costly Mistakes. And Alfie, one of the mistakes that people make is waiting for perfection. They want to wait to the perfect time to invest. Don't you hear that all the time? I'm just waiting. Everybody's waiting.
Yeah, and there's so many opportunities out there, but you don't think it is. And we do mentoring at a local high school here, and Estera High School is one of them. And I was talking to these kids not too long ago, and they were I was telling them that you're going to have 2 or 3 opportunities in your lifetime, and you have to have your eyes open for these opportunities. And a lot of times you'll have an opportunity and you're afraid and you talk yourself out of that opportunity, or you say, this is an opportunity, I'm going to jump on it. But you're right, there's a lot of times, and when you're waiting for the perfect scenario, it's not going to come. There's nothing perfect out there. There's nothing perfect, so you have to.
Off dollar cost averaging, wouldn't it?
You would be better off, exactly, dollar cost averaging, taking the gains on your interest and buying those stocks on a monthly basis. Do something. When you're not doing anything, you are falling behind big time. You need to do something, and there's ways to do things that make you feel good, that has safety net concerns, but don't be oh, well, I'm just going to put it all in at one time. No, we don't do that, but we will give you a plan to put it in, even if the market's high. Do I wait till the market comes down? You can wait. That's market timing. You got to be right twice. When to get in, when to get out, and that usually doesn't work. But dollar cost averaging works if you have a big downturn. Then what happens? You have a big downturn. People say, well, I'm going to wait for it to go down more. It's never right, John. I'm going to wait for it to go down more. And then it went down 3%, and you're like, I'm going to wait for it to go down more. Then it starts to go back up. And then you say, man, I should have, would have, could have, but you didn't. So this is why I always say you need to have someone that's on your side that's going to take the emotion out of it. Emotion will rob you of your returns. You get out when you shouldn't get out. You get in when you shouldn't get in. And you sit on the sidelines when you shouldn't be sitting on the sidelines. So it would be, I always say, when we charge a fee for our service, but you don't want us for free. You don't want a person saying, I don't charge you. If they don't charge you, that means that they're charging you with what they're putting you in. They're selling you something that they're going to make money on, some commission product. So that's where we don't do that here at the Advanced Retirement Group. What we're going to do is if we're managing your money, we're going to charge you a fee, but we're going to put you in, build you a portfolio, put you in stocks, and put you in things that have opportunity to grow. So,
and it's proprietary, right? They can't really get what you invest in outside.
That's a good point. Yeah, we're talking about institutional investing. You'd have to put millions of dollars into what we can give you, where if we just wanted to put a little bit of money in there, we could put a few $100,000 in there and give you something that it would take you millions to get the same type of pricing. So yeah, and I always say, if you're going to pay us, we're going to work for you, and we're going to give you opportunities like tax loss harvesting is one of the things that millionaires do and that most people don't do. Tax loss harvesting is where we're going to build a portfolio for you, and we're going to look for opportunities to sell those stocks and take those losses. So if Exxon is going down, what our managers are going to do, if you're in this tax loss harvesting program, they're going to sell your Exxon, and we can't buy it back because it's at a loss for 30 days. It's called the stop loss, and so you can't buy it right back. So it's a wash rule. You can't buy it back. So what we're going to do is we'll keep you invested by buying Chevron, and then we'll keep doing that. But along the way, what will happen is you're going to have these losses, but you're still going to have gains. But when we can use these losses down the road to offset some gains. So if by not doing anything, if you have a stock that goes down, then it goes back up, goes down, goes back up, you would rather have it go down. We get you out, take the loss, keep you invested by buying something similar to it, the wash rule. So we have to do it after 30 days. And then what happens is by the end of the year, 2 years, you could have $100,000 to $200,000 of losses just because of what we're doing to create, tax loss harvesting, and you can offset them when you sell some of your gains. So think about if you wanted to buy a house and you needed $100,000. If we sold $100,000 of gain, and pay zero tax on that because we'll offset it with losses because of the strategies that we're doing. That's what millionaires do. This is, they're not investing, by just leaving it, not doing anything. They're working their accounts, and that's what we do with our clients. That's why we get a lot of high net worth clients that come to us, because we are going to show them some tax strategies that you're most likely not experiencing right now.
Yeah, when you talk about taking emotion out of the investing, most people, just about everybody, is afraid to lose money. But letting fear drive decisions is another mistake that you want to talk about. But fear does play a role, doesn't it?
Oh, you're right. It plays a role a couple times, especially, John, when that market's going down. People say, I just can't lose it. I want out. Like think about COVID. Go back to COVID, how bad COVID, the market tanked. It was 30%. The S&P was down 30% in a matter of 22 days. 30% in 22 days. It was the biggest downturn in the history of the market in that short of time. And those people that panicked and got out, they are to this day, 5 years later, didn't make their gains up most likely. So, but the ones that just stayed the course, they made the gains at the end of the year. It made that 30% up during COVID. It made that 30% up, but then it made an additional 11%. So it made like a 45% turnaround in a matter of months. And to this day, they don't have their money back because of their emotion. So, yeah, you want to take the emotion. What we do with our clients is we give them a plan. And when they have a plan, they know that we're going to be rebalancing. They know that we're working those accounts. And we know that they know that we're not going to panic and sell everything. And that's how you make money in the market. Matter of fact, I would call our clients, say, if you have extra money, let's put it in, because this is a time to do it. And you have to be fearful, like you always talk about it, Pastor, with Warren Buffett. You got to be fearful when everyone's greedy, and greedy when everyone's fearful. And this is opportunity, and it's hard to do that with emotion.
Yeah. Well, this was a great show today, and if you want to find out more about Alfie or visit with him in Fort Myers or Naples, take advantage of his years of expertise as a CFP, 40 years experience. Give him a call or text the word VISIT, V-I-S-I-T, to 239-747-1077. That's 239-747-1077.
Thank you, John, and thank you for listening to Saving the Investor. We are been on this station for, I believe, about 13, 14 years now. Been on NBC2 for many, many years. And if you never watched our TV show, it's called Saving the Investor. Saving the Investor right here, right on NBC at 11 o'clock, 11 to 11:30. And, of course, 92.5. We do a nice little, if you never listened to us on Monday, with Daybreak, with Jason Jones, we're on every Monday morning to give like a financial report for the week. Financial Monday, so listen to us there at 7:30 in the morning every Monday. So thank you for listening to Saving the Investor radio show. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Be safe and stay blessed in Jesus' name.